Car insurance rates in Tennessee have skyrocketed more than the average of the nation. Essentially, you guys went up about 19% in the past 12 months-ish. From 2022 to 2023, one of the things that has happened is Tennessee has seen a major increase. Let's dive in and go over the main reasons this has happened, and then I'll give you some pointers on how to try to combat this and get some of these prices back down. There are things that you can do to reduce these risks. So just to explain what the difference was, is everyone went up this year. Don't get too confused because the national average was a little bit over 16%. So the 19%, yeah, it's 3% more, but you're going to feel it in your pocketbook. If you were paying $300 a month before, now you're paying $350, $360 or more for your car insurance. Some people are going up more than the 20% and some people a little bit less. So let's determine what those factors are. The number one thing, and your agent is always going to tell you, is inflation. One of the biggest pieces of inflation is the car repair. And in Tennessee, the car repairs have outweighed the average of car repairs in the nation. That's where you're seeing the largest increase because you guys actually went up about 14% on average for an additional car repair. The price of materials, the cost to get them in, the time it takes to fix them, giving you a rental car, all of those pieces are playing a factor into what your insurance is paying. And when your insurance pays out, their prices are based on what they pay out. They have to have a profit margin that makes sense. In this case, the cost of repairing the car between the time frame and the cost of materials has gone up significantly, causing one of the major pieces to be that reason. One of the larger reasons from 2022 on up is the severity of accidents. Now, this is what's been causing a lot of the insurance companies to go up in most states. In Tennessee, it's a little bit higher because in your state, you're averaging about 16% more for fatal accidents, for major claims. So when you are in an accident, there are way more injuries this following last year and a half than it has ever been. On top of that, you're seeing a 20% increase on thefts. So car accidents are happening more often, people are getting hurt more, but also thefts are happening even more. There's a 20% increase there, and a lot of it has to do with the type of vehicles. We've all heard the Kia story where a lot of Kias are being stolen. If you have a Kia in Tennessee, I apologize, the rates are going to go crazy. I essentially was reading an article from a company called Market Watch, and they were talking about the different types of thefts in the different cities. So your main city, I believe, is Nashville, Tennessee, and you're seeing not as much of a theft increase, but it's still significant. You've got about a 7% increase. The main city that stood out was called Murfreesboro. They increased 35.6% in thefts, which is the major significance of the theft increase. If you're in or near that city, odds are your insurance rate has gone up more than the average that we're even talking about here. There is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel because if you look at the reports that they're talking about, they're measuring from January to January of one year. And if we look at October to October, there's a little bit difference in data. So the actual rate increases that we've seen in Tennessee have happened. 14% of that almost 20% rate increase have been from the January to January. When we look at October to October, it's significantly less of a rate increase. So we're seeing some of these average out. It's like we mentioned in a previous video where a lot of these companies in this next 2024 and forward are going to raise some rates a little bit, if not a lot, and companies will start to play catch up. So for those of you that haven't seen a rate increase, odds are, depending on the company that you're with, you likely will. If you are finding those extremes, or if you have a Hyundai or a Kia and you're seeing those issues and you're looking for the right agent, I'll put a link in the description below where you can work with an agent that shops multiple companies. That's usually the best way to combat a lot of these changes is if you haven't looked at the policy to find the reasoning behind this, but also it may make sense to find a company that you're a better fit for. The way insurance companies do this is they put profiles. They essentially take your insurance score and the type of car you have and the location you live in and your age and your driving history and your credit and all of these things, and they make this profile for you. And when you're no longer a fit, that profile doesn't fit in this square box of this company A, it's time to go to company B. Now, there's a lot of changes that you can make to your policy, but the main thing is to make sure that you're not necessarily having to constantly change what you carry to pay for the costs that you have to afford. I actually have a video that's going to go a little bit more in depth on that and show you what options you have and some ways that you can save money with your current policy before you decide to shop and go find the next best company. I'll put a link here for that video if you want to check it out. Otherwise, if you're looking to understand the coverages of your car policy and get a little bit more in depth on what you should carry, I'll put my Car Insurance 101 here as well. I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.